Hey, what's going on, you guys? Z. Keith Carnes here, and welcome to a new episode of Criminal Mind Talk. Today is Thursday, October 11th, and so every Thursday I'll be bringing you a new episode of Criminal Mind Talk. I think, episodes booked all the way to, I think, either the end of November or maybe to mid-December. I can't remember. It's somewhere in there. I want to just let you guys know before we start this episode, I just want to let you know that the weather change here in California, as you know, it's October, mid-October now. As we head closer and closer to the really cold season, it's been really cold here lately. Today it was a little warm for some reason, but the weather change always makes me sick, and right now I have kind of a sore throat. It's not like major, but just letting you guys know this in case I just don't really seem to be myself. I'm a little under the wind, but I'm not going to let that stop me from bringing you guys content, because you guys are important to me, and I'm not just saying that to kiss ass. It's honestly how I feel. And another thing is I have a drink here, so forgive me if I have to stop and take a couple drinks, which right now I do. It's just really hard to talk with a sore throat, but I'm going to try to do this one for you as best as I can. So today, this week, we're taking a look at Ed Gein, one of the most, he would be infamous, I believe. Yeah, infamous, yeah, okay. One of the most infamous serial killers of all time. Definitely, in my opinion, one of the sickest serial killers of all time, for sure. So just to give you guys a backdrop of Ed Gein, so you don't have to bother looking it up and you know what it was about, I'm just going to go ahead and read this excerpt about Gein to give you a picture of what he was. So Edward Ed Gein was an American murderer and body snatcher. His crimes, committed around his hometown of Plainfield, Wisconsin, gathered widespread notoriety. It's hard to say that word for me. Other authorities discovered Gein had exhumed corpses from local graveyards and fashioned trophies and keepsakes from their bones and skin. After police found bodies parts in his house in 1957, Gein confessed to killing two women, tavern owner Mary Hogan in 1954 and a Plainfield hardware store owner Bernice Warden in 1957. Initially found unfit to stand trial following confinement in a mental health facility, he was tried in 1968 for the murder of Warden and sentenced to life imprisonment, which he spent in a mental hospital. The body of Bernice Warden was found in Gein's shed. Her head and the head of Mary Hogan were found inside his house. Robert H. Gallmore, the judge in the Gein case, wrote, "Due to prohibitive costs, Gein was tried for only one murder, that of Mrs. Warden. With fewer than 3 murders attributed to him, Gein does not meet the traditional definition of a serial killer." So, okay, I stand corrected then, calling him a serial killer. His case influenced the creation of several fictional serial killers, including Norman Bates from Psycho, Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, and Jamie Gum from The Silence of the Lambs. So, as you know, the misinterpretation from a lot of people is that, you know, Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, is based on a true story. It is not. It is a simple spin-off, if you will, of Ed Gein. For years, when I was young, I used to think Texas Chainsaw was based on a true story. I thought Leatherface was real, and it was pretty disappointing in a sick way that it wasn't true. So there you guys go. He doesn't really qualify as a serial killer, seeing that he was only, two. I think it's odd how they do it, but I think they say like 3 or more killings makes you a serial killer, but if you only kill like 1 or 2 people, you're not considered a serial killer, obviously. So Ed Gein, they didn't go into great detail here, but they said, it's known that he had, something that was seen in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre was taken directly from the Ed Gein case, and that was, of course, that, human bones were used to make custom furniture. That's something that this article didn't mention for some reason. And in The Silence of the Lambs, the serial killer in that movie who kidnapped overweight women He always wanted, I think, what size was it? Was it a 15 or a 16? I can't remember what size he wanted it. But he kidnapped and ultimately murdered overweight women because he was going to make he wanted to be a transsexual. He wanted to have a sex change, you know, go from being a man to a woman, basically. And I can't remember the reason in the movie why he wasn't able to, but he wasn't eligible to do it or some shit like that. So he was going to make basically a costume made out of human skin of women and stitch it and wear it, and, you know, wear, you know, a woman's scalp on his head, so he had long woman's hair. And that was also taken from Ed Gein. It's known that Ed Gein, I believe, wore the victim's skin on his face and stuff like that, and that, you know, that also deprives from Leatherface wearing the victim's skin on his face. Now, as far as Psycho goes, you know, Ed Gein was very influenced by his abusive mother. It's very well known that that's probably why he had such a hatred toward women, and why they were his only victims was females, was because his mother was very bad to him, from what I read. I don't read too much into Ed Gein because I just really don't find the guy to be that interesting, to be honest. But yeah, when I did read up on him in the past, I remember reading about his mother being abusive and, you know, would never let him, you know, talk to any other. Basically, she made other women sound pretty much like every woman was a dirty whore, basically. And initially that that pushed Gein to go to the point of victimizing women. And ultimately, I think it was just a recipe for disaster, so to speak. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. Ed Gein, definitely a sick guy. Has influenced some of the greatest Hollywood killers of all time, such as Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw, you know, the killer in The Silence of the Lambs, the killer in Psycho. And yeah, I mean, he is definitely one that is known to be one of the sickest fucks to ever walk Earth in some of his crimes that he did. If you want to see the crime scene photos, if you have a strong stomach for that, they are not hard to find. Actually, when I got the thumbnail, you know, the custom thumbnail, which means the picture that you see before you click on the video, when I clicked in Ed Gein, there was the death photos. I just don't know if YouTube will allow me to upload death photos. Plus, I don't want to offend anybody. You know, a lot of people can't look at this. It might get them nightmares. So, you know, I have respect for other people. Anyway, that's going to do it for me, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you guys in the next. This is Z. Keith Carnes, and I will see you guys in the next. Peace.